Alright, y'all, sorry if there's a lack of energy in this video. I just got my wisdom teeth out earlier, and I'm just grateful that I'm able to talk. Just sat down, had nothing to do, laid in my bed with my dog. You can see him right there. Grand old time, and I'm feeling so much better, so let's talk some ball. So you're telling me the first NBC game in 23 years goes double overtime? You simply could not draw it up better than this. So much to dive into. We're obviously going to start with this. However, I do want to talk about basketball being back on NBC just real quick. I think NBC has always done a great job capturing the nostalgia aspect of why we love the sport, you know? NBC captures that whole texture and color so well, especially with that commercial in the pregame, and we saw it all over Twitter and whatnot. You got stuff from MJ, which we never get stuff from MJ. Just an overall fantastic viewing experience. You know, I've talked about it a little bit in the past, and I have shot for some guys here and there. However, I want to bring character, I want to bring texture, color, motion. Basketball is the most beautiful motion sport, videography and photography, and I've done them all. I'm sold. I'm sold. All right, let's talk about the game now, because that was incredible. There's so much that I got to cover, but I'm going to start with the KD timeout, because if the Thunder lost this game, man, I would have been so hot as a fan. Ignore certain stuff that is just blatantly the rules, because it causes this black and white dynamic where it is the rules and everybody acknowledges that it's the rules, but they miss it or they don't see it. He called the timeout. There was two. Jabari actually called it as well. There was two people on the court that called a timeout when you didn't have any. They did pull a Chris Webber. I do want to start off with the Houston side of things as well, because obviously they're newly orchestrated team. We know OKC. I know how good they are. We know all the positives about them, but definitely just more notes on the Houston side of things. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I think we got to start off with Alperen Sengun, because that man, don't leave that man open anymore. I mean, just the slither of openness, and he was letting that thing fly, and he was cashing. I think he hit 7 threes. He shot like 62%. He was letting that fly. And that is the next development for this game. And that's the question going forward with this team as well, where, you know, you're seeing this true double big lineup, because traditionally Alperen Sengun is a back-to-basket big. Has the ability to stretch the floor. He's kind of that like new age Jokic type of level guy, where slower on the perimeter, but obviously can hold his own offensively. Defensively, another story. So if he's able to space that out, and I don't expect him to shoot like this all season, not at all. I would be surprised if he shot 35, if he ended the year 35%, 36%. You know, that'd be a dramatic jump for him. We're going to overreact to one game sample size. Definitely worked on his game this offseason. That's all you can really ask for the guy. He's still super raw and young, and he's still an all-star. That double big lineup, the offense did really look stagnant at times. This was an ugly game through like 3 quarters. They started to kind of figure out the fourth quarter, and both sides, Rockets and, you know, Shea on the other end, just turn it up a whole other level. This Houston Rockets offense looked scared, stagnant. I didn't see much sets ran at all. They kind of just set some bullshit pin down screens for KD to come off of, and then just let him go to work in ISO. Boone would seal somebody in the paint on the block, and, you know, they would kind of just let him go to work. And this was before OKC kind of went that small ball lineup, so it was just kind of bruiser on bruiser type thing, you know, in honor of NBC. That's one question going forward for me that I want to look at. I don't hate the double big lineup at all. I think it's interesting. I like how through 5 they're going big, with Amen starting at point. We'll get to him as well. However, I just don't think it fits the style of the players on this team. They have so many young wings who I feel like can fill lanes in transition so well. Like Jabari Smith Jr. filled the lanes pretty well in transition today, and he surprised me all around today, as I think he could be a real big X factor for this team, especially shooting wise. Especially if they're going to play a lot more half-court offense. But Amen is, I mean, A to B, one of the fastest guys in the league. So getting him in transition downhill situations, he looked phenomenal today in those situations. Just driving, being a real big bruiser. using his strength, using his size, and I think that is something that, I mean, yes, you have KD, who in the half court is a bucket, thrives in that slower pace, one-on-one, I'm going to get to my spot, I'm going to shoot over you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. But I would like to see a little more balance, and I think it is a hard thing to do when you have Steven Adams on the court, who is just a big brick. Amen can't, like, he shot a little bit today. It didn't look very pretty. There's points where, like, you know, you can tell that he's developing that and whatnot. However, when he's rushed and he doesn't catch in rhythm and he's not open, but kind of forces it up, not the greatest. Reed Sheppard as well was in and out of that lineup. Thought he looked a little timid, and quite frankly was a ball stopper at times. I think if this team swings the ball a little bit more, you know, KD was kind of calling it out too. You could see him pointing. You could see Alp in a duck-in situation in the post with, you know, Caruso on him or something, and Reed Sheppard would just stop the ball and kind of dribble out and panic, not know what to do, and wouldn't even swing it to the other side to move the defense. He would kind of just, you know, panic, stop, and kind of go ISO, and then dish it off or throw up a turnover like he did in the last little bit of that game. Didn't really love what I saw out of Reed Sheppard today. And it's, again, one game sample size. I'm not one of those guys who's going to write him off at all. I still think he's a really good player when he's confident, and I think he's one of those guys that thrives on confidence and routine. But brings me to my next point, the whole point guard by committee thing that they kind of ran, which I'm a huge fan of, especially if Reed Sheppard is kind of going to play a little more off ball. One game sample size seems like he might be a little bit better as an off guard, and kind of ran a little more sets for him. KD can bring up the ball, totally fine. Amen, totally fine. Get you in your sets, can go downhill. Quick first step is maybe the best in the league. And then I love when Alperen Sengun brings up the ball and drags that center out a little bit more, especially if he can develop that three-point shot like he did today and hit that thing. I think that's a dangerous leap for him as his progression goes forward, dangerous for this team going forward, especially if you're going to play that logjam lineup with Steven Adams in there. And you saw the staggered minutes with Sengun running with the whole second unit and running that point guard, point center role, which I thought was super cool, and was able to just kind of control, keep them alive in that second unit, especially in that second quarter, third quarter situations, before big time meaningful ball like we saw in the fourth and the two overtimes. Also, another question that I had was, what happens when Dorian Finney-Smith comes back? Because like I mentioned, I view this team as a transition team, man. You let the young guys get out in transition, KD and Alp will trail. KD can shoot from 35 feet, whatever. So he can trail that play and spot up and be good, and he can take you off the dribble, get to his mid-range. You know, he's good like that in momentum situations, off the trail, top of the key. Because if you don't have it, you can just swing it back to the top of the key. KD can get into his bag and stuff. And same with Alp. You know, he loves to do that fake spin and go the same side to his left, whatever, up and under stuff, especially kind of working from that top of the key range. And I think he can do that while he's trailing. And then you use the speed of Amen, Jabari Smith Jr., even Dorian Finney-Smith, all your young guys, all your young wings, Tari Eason as well. I think they have just a huge opportunity for this team as traditional 3-and-D, get out and transition guys. I think those are the real X factors for this team going forward. But now let's talk about the OKC Thunder, because wow, this team is... It's the team, man. You know how good they are? They win games defensively. This defense is elite. They have so many different lineups they can throw out there for so many different situations. I love when they go small ball. Credit to Alp too, because usually centers have a pretty tough time with Caruso. He holds his own really well, and Alp dominated him. No discredit to Caruso either, because he played his ass off. He tried so hard, but Alp just took over. I'm a huge fan of this defense. Everybody crashes. They play together. They win games defensively. Give them a chance until the fourth quarter. No matter how bad Shea's playing, no matter how bad, Chet, which had a phenomenal game, by the way. We'll talk about him. No matter how bad they're playing, Shai's going to bring you home. He's going to bring you home. He's the MVP of the league. That man can turn it on at any given moment. Shout out to Chet, man, with 28. I thought he came out super aggressive. I think that is his next leap, too. Is you got J-Dub out right now. You are the number 2 option right now. And you have to step up like that offensively, and he did so tonight. He looked so good, so aggressive. You know, he was getting some off the dribble stuff, catch and shoot opportunities, driving and kicking. He was decent on the boards too, 7 boards. That's not really of a much of a rebounder. Also, Cason Wallace with 7 boards. Good hustle guy for you. I liked him down the stretch as well. I think he's a key part of this rotation. And another guy that I love that he had a really good game, but he missed a lot of shots. But AJ Mitchell for this team, I love. He's so gritty. He knows his role. He stays within that role. And defensively, just a pest. Offensively, gets to his spot. Loves that lefty floater. Also catch and shoot opportunities. He's fast off the dribble. Love me some AJ Mitchell. Talk about a guy who went completely over my head during offseason stuff. I wish I talked about him a little bit more. But yeah, this was the best possible way to start an NBA season. Moving on to the next game. Can we talk about the Lakers real quick? Man, Luke is that guy. We've been knowing this. End up with 43, 9, and 12. Damn near a triple-double. Almost willed that team back in the fourth quarter. Him and Austin Reeves. Shout out Austin Reeves, too. Ended up with 26, 9, and 5. Good to see him in that facilitator role with LeBron out because he's more than capable. That's my favorite attribute of Austin Reeves is his playmaking. But, man, other than that, y'all might be out of luck. I can't lie. I don't know how much DeAndre Ayton y'all want to watch this year. Jackson Hayes isn't much better. You were forced to play Gabe Vincent almost 30 minutes, and he gave you absolutely nothing. You only played Jared Vanderbilt 12 minutes. He gave you absolutely nothing. You haven't seen Marcus Smart play basketball in years. Rui barely gave you much. But he was probably your third most impactful player. This team, I thought was going to be a lot better. And obviously the LeBron injury and him not there to start the season is very unfortunate. Because he just makes everybody better. I'm not saying he's going to make DeAndre Ayton look any much worse or better than he already looks. And not to shit on DeAndre Ayton, but man, I don't really care about what the numbers say for DeAndre Ayton. I understand he's a career double-double guy, 17 and 10 guy. Like, those stats are phenomenal. The eye test is terrible with him. It's just terrible. He doesn't try. It's lazy. He gets boxed out so easily. He doesn't even go for rebounds. What's the point of being the only rebounder on the court for your team and not crashing the glass, not boxing out, not using your size, not going after block shots? It's just, it's tough watch over there in LA. And I truly, even with LeBron out, I thought this team was going to look a little bit better. Again, 1 game sample size doesn't mean anything, but you're kind of realizing that they don't have a lot of other guys that can step up. And I like Jake LaRavia. I like Rui a lot. I don't know how I feel about Marcus Smart anymore. I don't really love Gabe Vincent minutes. I think sometimes he's a chucker and doesn't know his role. But sometimes he'll hit the really big shots and it'll be like, oh, that's Gabe Vincent. Jackson Hayes, hate him. I just think the center rotation, why 12 minutes for Jared Vanderbilt? I just don't understand. I think he's one of your more impactful defensive-oriented players. I'm just not a fan of this team. I would love to know what Lakers fans are feeling right now. The Warriors side of things, there was a lot that I liked. We're going to start with Jonathan Kuminga because that third quarter, he looked engaged with the team, backdoor cutting. Draymond hit him on a couple real nice backdoor cuts that led to some easy finishes for him. I heard them talking in the broadcast that Steve Kerr wants him to buy into a Shawn Marion type of role, which I love for him. I loved Shawn Marion. He just has a good feel for the game, feel for his body. He's super athletic, can jump out the gym. I think and Draymond will find him too. He'll get a lot of easy buckets. I just miss watching the Warriors play Warriors ball, man. Moving, cutting, backdoors, the weird slip screens that Steph always hits Draymond on, and then he always hits the coffin corner. And I think that's where Jonathan Kuminga could really shine as a player. And another guy, and obviously before we talk about this other guy, Buddy Hield, shout out Buddy Hield. Classic Buddy Hield experience too. First half of the season, you're like, oh wow, he could be a real player for this team. And then he shits the bed the rest of the season. Classic performance, but I mean, spazzed from 3 today. But the other guy that I think could really be a dog for this team is Will Richard. I think he fits into that system really, really well. Obviously, Jimmy played phenomenal. Draymond, phenomenal game. He hits those threes when they count. He's been saying that for years. Al Horford is old, y'all. He's old. And I hate to see, and obviously 1 game sample size, I hate to see my guy Quentin Post only get 9 minutes out there. I do think that he provides almost the exact same thing Al Horford provides besides the veteran presence. Good to see some Gary Payton minutes too. You know, I love his energy off the bench and whatnot. Overall, pretty good game out of the Warriors. You know, got a little scary at the end, but that's what Luka does to you. That's what Austin Reeves can do to you. But yeah, man, that's it. Good day of basketball. I'm just so happy that this season is here. I've been waiting for this for months. I'm so excited to start, you know, really making videos like this and recapping stuff, getting in the scene and whatnot. It's been something I want to do for a really long time. And, you know, my setup's only going to improve. My ability to talk to the camera is only going to improve. And I'm just overall super excited for the upcoming future and this season in general. So, yeah, if y'all enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do. I'll catch you in the next one. Got some good ball tomorrow, too, so I'll be back. Peace.